welcome back to VidaneTV Tuesday night action. So that means we're back in the eastern part of Canada. It's cold here. It's cold in Canada. It's cold in southern New England here in Connecticut. It seems like it's cold pretty much everywhere here at this point. So we're going to do our best to try and heat everybody up. Little RBR Season 8 maritime action with the iRacing Winter League Series. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr. here in the production trailer alongside me, as always, on Mondays and Tuesdays this season, Ashton Reiki. Ashton, how we feeling tonight, brother?
You said it was cold, and Paul, it is 39 degrees here, and it is beyond cold. So I'm sitting by the heater. I'm ready to get some racing, and I'm wishing I was in a race car right now to stay warm.
Yeah, you and I were talking about some travel here in the 2025. I am very much looking forward to going down to Daytona here for Kart Week in just a couple of weeks' time. But before we get there, got some business to attend to. Let's take a quick peek here at the qualifying efforts of these gentlemen here in the RBR Maritime Season 8. Crazy. It's crazy to think we've been with these guys for 7 seasons as lights are already off on the pace car. There's Riley Duncan, Ryan Messer up on the front row, Tanton Woldridge, JJ McRae, John Byron, Mike Rhino, the front 6 as we swift on through. There's Ashton Tucker, Chris Roma, Devin Laffin, Scott Negus, Tom Cousins, Conrad Murphy, and there you see closing out the field, Derek Gates, Travis Roma, Wade Craswell, Danny Mitch, and Craig Tully, as it looks like we do still have a lap here. Ran through that all quick like for nothing.
It's all good. I think we distracted the boss man, Tully. I pulled him up just to give him a quick pep talk there. It didn't work. He's starting quite far back. So no more pep talks from the guys in the booth. But pace car's on pit road, and we are green, starting off the night of the 125. This one here tonight brought to you by Vino's Truck and Auto. Good friend of mine, so Jordan Vino and the whole gang over there at Veinotte Truck and Auto. If you need any kind of big truck repairs, small truck repairs, any kind of repairs, give them a shout if you're in the area.
And we saw the qualifying results there. Ryan Messer qualified up in the top 3, but because he won last week, he has to start in the back of the pack. And kind of roles reversed between he and Tanton Woldridge. And just looking at the points coming into it, Tanton Woldridge coming in with 257 points. He has a 9-point lead over Ryan Messer. Let me give you these finishes here for Tanton Woldridge this season. First, second, first, second. Just kidding. Third, first, second. Very, very quick, good results here. Podiums all the way across the board in the championship hunt in the final 2 races. And you can see he's running third right now. He wants to hold on to that point lead, maybe pad it by just a little bit, as Ryan Messer's still kind of working his way back through that traffic, starting shotgun on the field. He's made his way up to the 15th, check that 14th position, as Wade Craswell going to come down pit road, it looks like, get some service on the 67.
Such a unique racetrack, Paul. We're here at Irwindale. Irwindale's kind of one of those tracks that there's only one lane to make those moves, but something you're going to see often, and the 83 is already dabbling in this that I want to bring up. He's way down on the apron. You can arc that car down there and use the apron to kind of skew the car properly and let it slide back up the banking. Something different that you're not often seeing in other racetracks here, but such a unique racetrack, such a fun racetrack. Shades of Darlington, the way they're running. You can see that dotted line about 3/4 of the way up the track, halfway through the center of the corner there, and they're all running above that. We'll see very often tonight, as Devin Laffin sent in some fast times at a 17.7, you'll see often tonight it's going to be the Irwindale stripe, very similar to the Darlington stripe. These guys are going to get right up close to the wall as the night goes on, and that's where you're going to find all your speed.
And you see a lot of that at Stafford Motor Speedway as well. All divisions at that racetrack, they go all the way down on the apron, not out of bounds until you cross that yellow line there. We see it a lot of times at the Dogleg at Phoenix International Raceway as well. And I'm actually kind of surprised we're only seeing 1, maybe 2 drivers attempt the diving all the way down like that. But you can see still relatively even as far as lap times go and positioning. So you got to wonder what it's doing with the tire wear, because it's going to be wearing just a little bit different as the banking isn't as extreme down in the bottom side of the racetrack around that apron. So it'll be a wonder to see as we get deeper and deeper into this 125 lapper what the tire wear looks like on that 83 car.
Absolutely, it's gonna take a toll on it. It's certainly gonna change his strategy compared to everybody else's. Currently, everybody kind of single file, everybody in that rhythm. Duncan out in front comfortably. He's gonna have a mirror full of drivers all night long with how tight quarters this track is and single file it is. They're gonna kind of stay behind him until they really see that opportunity to make any kind of moves. But Riley Duncan, very quick right now. I mean, lap 9. You saw JJ McRae put down a 17.9, and then he kind of backed it off. So you can see he has the speed, and he's just conserving. It's one of those races that single file, as I said, not many opportunities to make crazy passes. So it's going to be one of those games of patience, one of those games of just making sure that you save your equipment to maybe make that last minute move down to the bottom apron like the 83 is doing right now, as he looks like he's approaching to possibly make a pass on the 8 car as we look through the field there at Rhino and Byron, also making very consistent laps. Everybody kind of in the 18.0, 18.1. So that seems to be the pace set by Duncan, and everybody seems to be quite comfortable with that right now.
And you can see, a little too close for comfort up there for the 8 car. Laffin gets up there, gets that first Irwindale stripe of the evening that you were talking about earlier on. You can see the 83 car going to dip down low and try and take advantage of that positioning from the 8 car, but not quite enough there, able to tuck right into the tire tracks. You can see backs the corners way up in the 83 car. So I feel like he's saving a lot more than these other drivers that are going up around the outside, just like you see at a Darlington or multiple other racetracks that have kind of that dotted line up on the high side. But great racing all the way out throughout the race so far, 17 laps in. And one of the things I want to take a quick peek at is we're running 18.1s, 18.2s up in the top 5. These guys were running down in the 17.8s and 9s earlier on. So you got to wonder, we're less than 20 laps into 125 laps. Are these guys saving this early, or have the tires already fallen off?
I'm going to say it's a game of saving. Duncan is setting the pace, right? And he had a very quick lap time. He started out on the front row. What I'm waiting to see is how well is the 8 car getting another Irwindale stripe there as he slides up. He's right on that fine line. He's running what I like to call the Kyle Larson line. He's right up on that wall, and if he can get that momentum rolling and nail those corners perfectly, he'll fly. But back to the point of saving, Duncan's setting the pace. He set a fast lap. He got out front, and all of that works towards being able to set the pace that you want to set. I'm waiting to see those drivers that we know are quick and we know are coming, where they're going to make their moves. Ryan Messer being one of them. He's already up 4 or 5 positions from where he started, having to start from the tail of the field. So it's going to be interesting to see how long it takes him to get out to the top 10, top 5, top 10, and what he'll have left once he gets up there, because it's going to use a lot more tire to get through the field.
Yeah, with everybody running up on the high side, passing is going to get more and more difficult as these tires start to wear and as these cars start to lighten up in the back end of these cars, because that fuel load will actually lighten and raise the back end of the car up as that fuel burns off. So a lot of work to do just outside of the top 10 for Ryan Messer, but still a lot of time to do it. Nice and smooth for the 1 car all over the back bumper there, Travis Roma. Going to give him a little bit of breathing room because it is still early in this one. Everybody's still chasing that 97 car. RFD Riley Duncan holding on to the point.
The other thing we always like to talk about, Paul, is bridging that gap between real world and the virtual world. And Ryan Messer had a great season this year. He was in the running for some points championships with the Super Late Model Series, and I think he ended up 3rd or 4th with it. Great season for him at Petty International Speedway. We talked about it earlier. This man is the Iron Man of sim racing lately. He has been on top so many times, not just this year, in the past years also. Always one to keep an eye on and watch. And we talked about how many races he's won lately. And we were going to look to try and go back and see how many of those we can actually collect and maybe get some pictures of it and throw something together, some sort of poster that we can commemorate how dedicated he is to committing to these series.
Indeed, Ryan Messer almost coming home with 2 championships last winter with the NAP Series as well as the RBR Maritime Group. Won himself the TCM race, first broadcast race of the year this past Sunday night, and here he is breaking his way into the top 10, able to get around that black and yellow number 38 car of Travis Romo. He sets his sights now on Conrad Murphy in that 89 car. I don't think we've mentioned Conrad's name all evening here so far. The 89 car running solidly in the top 10, 9th right now. He's trying to chase down the 2 car of Todd Cousins. We saw him peek in just a little bit ago. Chris Roma right up in front of him, Devin Laffin, and then we get into the top 5 rather. There you can see the 83 car still trying to make that apron work down on the bottom side. He's moving up just a little bit, 7th right now, trying to take 6th away from Laffin. But John Byron, Mike Rhino, they're 5th and 4th, and the top 3 still remain Duncan, McRae, and Woolridge. .96 laps to go. Check that, 95 laps to go as we cross the stripe live all over the internet here on a Tuesday night. Trying to take over, trying to entertain the masses, as it were, here on VidaneTV. We're live over on the Facebook page. We're live on YouTube, live on the Twitch. I think we're live on Twitter as well, x.com/VidaneTV. You can pop that up and get that ready to rock and roll. And we're appreciate the likes, the shares, the follows, all that good stuff. Let your friends and family know that you're watching a little bit of iRacing action here on a Tuesday night.
I was trying to see, Paul, in the back of our shot there, as they come around the corner, more and more guys are finding their ways down to that apron. We talked about it earlier. I know the 83 has been doing it from the drop of the green, but I saw 2 or 3 cars down there. So a couple of guys maybe trying to experiment with Roma's line there as he dives down to the bottom in 1 and 2 and stays to the top in 3 and 4. It's gotta change the tire dynamic for sure. And I'm wondering if late in the race, if it's easier to get the car down there, because like you said, you're backing that corner up, so it might be a little easier to get it down there and let the car drift up the track up to the wall.
And we've mentioned it. I think we've even mentioned it this week so far on VidaneTV. This is one of the more difficult things to do as a racer as far as discipline goes. As a race car driver, you want to get down to the bottom of the racetrack as quickly as you can, and you want to drive that thing up towards the wall without hitting the wall. So when you kind of let it drift up in that high line, it kind of goes against all instinct. And then you see the 83 car, he's doing what I would do and driving all the way down to the bottom, down to that yellow line, and he's doing it consistently lap after lap, not gaining too much, gaining just a little bit as we get into this one. But we've been green flags so far this entire time. If he's able to do that and able to kind of move up a couple of inches on the racetrack, a couple of inches could mean a couple of positions for that 83 car. So everything appears to be going according to plan for the Roma camp.
Absolutely, and the only thing I've noticed is that he can get up to the back bumper of the 8 car in front of him, and then it's just a momentum game. The Coldstream number 8, it has the extra momentum on the top side. So you see him come out of the corner, they're almost door to door, and then there's just that extra little momentum from that high side that just pulls away down the straightaway. So as you said, he's not losing, he's not gaining, and he's the only one doing it. So it might work out in the end. He's certainly not going to get an Irwindale stripe all the way down there.
I would hope not. I mean, he might get one over on the left-hand side, depending on how low he gets down there. But he's been doing a great job getting down there, making it work. And like I said, I'd be very curious to see what the tires look like as they come off that 83 car, because it's doing so much different each and every lap. And after 125 laps, it's definitely going to look a little bit different than some of these other drivers. The 2 car going to take a peek on the high side. Todd Cousins, he's had a windshield full of what Roma's been doing there, but he's still going to stick on that high side. He's got a little bit of help in behind him, but I don't think the drafting help is going to matter too much here on the short track. And you can see Riley Duncan still up front by about 0.4 of a second, maybe 3.5 of a second over Tan Woolridge, the point leader. JJ McRae running in the 3rd spot. Mike Rhino and John Byron, the top 5 as we run here with 84, check that, 83 laps to go.
And just at the top of the picture there, as we were watching, I'm seeing the nose of a Ryan Messer. He's making his run to the front. He's right behind the 2 car that we were just talking about. He was taking a peek on the high side of the 83. Now he's got a mirror full of the 1 car of Ryan Messer. Again, he's been on the top side. He's been making the move slowly. Patience is key. As you see, he's exiting a little lower than the 2 car. I wonder if it's an attempt at a momentum, seeing where he can arc the car and get that car to rotate very well through the center of the corner. Not too much tire squealing, not too much fighting of the wheel. He's able to make the move to the inside of the 2 car. They're door to door coming off the corner.
Great car control for VidaneTV's Ironman Ryan Messer in that 1 car, side by side now on the bottom side of Todd Cousins in the number 2. 80 laps to go when we cross the stripe here, and you can see this is going to get interesting. That 1 car going to try and take a peek down low on the 83, and we've seen Roma all night long as on that bottom side going down to the apron. So it's going to be interesting to see if that ends up getting blocked off. I had to change the cameras real quick because we lost the 83 car. Well, he was down on the apron. So here we go. The 1 car of Messer going to take a look on the high side this time around, and it's side by side now for that 7th position.
That was a great line choice by the 83. He didn't dive all the way to the bottom, but he knew Messer was behind him. And every one of these drivers in this league all know that when they see the 1 car behind them, you're not going to keep him behind you very long. So he left him a door open, but he still ran a very nice lap. He was right on almost half and half on that white dotted line through the corner, and it kind of gave him a little bit of momentum, and he's able to keep up with Ryan Messer on the outside when he runs that line. So he obviously noticed that. He learned something, and he's back up in the tire tracks of the 1 car. Maybe he'll stick to his bump. Nope, never mind. I was going to say maybe he'll stick to his bumper and follow him through this corner, but back down to the bottom, it's working for him.
Yeah, that's one of those deals where, you could have Ashton Ricky in your ear saying, "Hey, bud, the high line's coming in." "Yep, that's fine. I'll be down here. I'm good."
Tell me something I don't know. I'm not going to listen to you.
Yeah, everybody else is up there. I'll be over here. So here's a question for you. We're live and interactive all over the internet, as it were. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff. And they have beavers up in Canada, correct?
I believe it's one of our country's animals of some sort.
Yeah, it's on one of the flags I remember seeing, almost 3 wide there. Well, I mean, if there's beavers, there's got to be a beaver inspector. So that's one of our fans over here on the Twitch. He's got a great question. Are these guys going to be able to make it on this same tank of gas, or are they going to have to stop and pit if we stay green?
I believe they can make it on the fuel. The problem is that they're going to have such a major drop-off on the tire speeds that if we do get a yellow and 1 guy pits, the rest of the field is going to have to either follow or hope that they get another caution quickly to be able to do that. You see the leaders running a 17.8. Now, we're 73, 72 laps to go. Now is when you start seeing the major fall off of the tires. They've all run them quite hard. Ryan Messer down below the 57 there, making another pass. So he's one of those ones to watch. I'm not sure what his times were to start this race, caught back in traffic. He's running an 18.2, 18.1, 18.2 in that area after running a 17.7 as a fast lap. So just goes to show that these tires are going to fall off around this time of the race. So I think they're okay on fuel. I'd be more concerned about tires.
And we're past halfway here at, nope, we're not past halfway here. 125, not 150. 125 laps on the docket here. 70 laps to go. We're just shy of the halfway marker. And that's really going to be kind of the goal point, I think, for a lot of these crews and a lot of these drivers as they plan this one out. They know if they can make halfway, they can make the second half on fuel, and they'll kind of know what to expect the tires to do once they get closer and closer to the end. There you see Ryan Messer. He's broken into the top 5, and he's trying to take away that 4th position from Mike Rhino in the 34 car.
That was a really tight situation there. Mike Rhino was on the top side, and Roma was coming up the bottom there. I didn't know if he realized how many cars were up there. I thought he was going to come right up the track, but they're starting to spread out a little bit. You see guys running where Ryan Messer is, cutting that line half and half. So running down a little bit lower, and you got the guys still fishing up on that wall in the Kyle Larson line. And further on back, you see more and more guys kind of trying to find some more grip, trying to find where that comfort zone is late in the race. As you said, less fuel in the tank, so you're probably about halfway on fuel. Still got half a tank left, but the back of the car is a little lighter. And the tires are hot now. The tires are getting a little squirrely as Ryan Messer makes another move into the 4th place position. He's going to make quick work. Oh, I thought he was going to make quick work of the 78 as he looked down low already. The 78 is right up against that wall. That is, you could barely fit a piece of paper in between the wall and the 78 car.
And this is going to get to the point of the race, too, where we're seeing a lot more side-by-side than we did earlier on. Ryan Messer going to take a peek down low on J.J. McRae in that 78. Going to take another stab at him here. This is getting to the point where the tires are really starting to fall off. We're running a half a second a lap slower than we were in the first 5 to 10 laps. A lot of these drivers didn't quite, I mean, they ran laps in practice, but they didn't do these long green flag runs. So they're not quite sure where the envelope can get pushed to on these cars. So it's going to be one of those deals where these guys may not be comfortable on older tires, and you can kind of start to see a lot of these guys are realizing that the car in front of them might be a little bit slower, but just like a place like Darlington or like Phoenix on that on that dogleg, very difficult to get around on the other side here. So trying to do something a little bit different, like Ryan Messer going down low, or the 83 car Aroma going all the way down low. It's great to see that we're going to start seeing some different strategies and different lines here at Irwindale in this closing second half.
The other thing you got to be concerned about, Paul, is, and I'm starting to just see it kind of at the front of the screen as you switch the camera there to the beautiful top cam, generally one of your camera angles, and you're starting to see lap traffic. It's a one-lane racetrack. You see the marbles on the bottom side, and I think that's why you see Rome was kind of moved up from doing that, trying to keep the marbles off the tire. But where do you go when you catch the back of lap traffic? Is the lap traffic going to move itself down into those marbles, or are you going to have to try and find a lane around it? Duncan is going to be the first one that has to try and figure that out.
And you can see that that lap car, the slower car, just up all the way on the high side. That's kind of where these drivers are running. So you make a great point. Where do you go at that point, and where does everybody else follow as well? And live and interactive all over the social webs: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, everywhere. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're pulling for, and join the conversation with hashtag VidaneTV. And we got to say hi to Mr. Vino. He jumps on into the Twitch, finally got it loaded, and well, nobody told him he had to listen to Ashton all night long.
I mean, he'd be excited to know that I'm over here promoting Vino's Truck and Auto. I mean, Jordan, like I said, Jordan's a great friend of mine. Jordan, DK, the whole crew over at Vino Motorsports, they're like family. So this is really cool to have him on board for the Irwindale 125, Vino's Truck and Auto 125. And like I said, if you're in the area, in the Vino Truck and Auto area, give them a shout if you need any kind of work done. If he was closer to me, he'd be working on my journey all the time.
Yeah, I got some work. The S10 needs a lot of work, but it's a 12-hour drive for me, 13, I think, if you count the time change and the Timmy stop. So,
and the border delay.
And the border delay. Yeah, that was another 90 minutes. we won't talk about that.
I think he's got trucks that could probably come and pick your truck up. I know he likes road trips.
Probably, yeah. No, there's you and I were just talking about potentially getting up to Maine or even Vermont's a good spot we have to get to for what is it, White Mountain Motorsports Park?
Yes, our guys over at Fast One Motorsports. A lot of those drivers racing over there, so we keep saying that we're going to pick a weekend and go up and visit all the guys up there.
Yeah, we were talking even about my travel plans. Definitely coming up again for a couple of weeks this year, and looking like maybe IWK weekend, potentially maybe Riverglade Part 2.
Are we letting that out of the bag already?
Yeah, just potentially. We gotta get a little bit of hype out there, right?
Absolutely.
Hopefully we can pick up some sponsors for the journey. Maybe they'll let me go through the border quicker this time. They know I'm coming.
There we go. Yeah. You won't even have to stop.
Yeah, Jay, you know I am.
I'm Showtime. I'm coming through.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what Mike
Sideways
Rhino just said.
Yeah,
he says, "Your Showtime. I'll show you Showtime. Watch this." Slides his way back into the 4th position. How about that? J.J. McRae dropping a couple of spots back into 5th in that 78 car. Everybody's still checking out on Riley Duncan, get a little bit closer. That's Ashton Tucker that's getting ready to go a lap down, and that's not to say that Ashton Tucker's off the pace. Just Riley Duncan very, very quick here at Irwindale. You can see starting to slowly close in that gap. He's got about 0.6 of a second between he and second place Tanton Woldridge, and that's your points leader coming into tonight with 9 points over the fella right in behind him, Ryan Messer. He gets around Mike Rhino. He's going to put that one car in the third position, and this championship battle is almost. I feel like this championship battle has been on the podium each and every race so far this year.
It has, for sure, and of course, two extremely talented drivers that are going to be able to get behind the wheel of their real race cars and race each other in the real racing world with the Super Late Model Series and the Maritime Pro Stock Tour next year. As we heard early on in this season, while we were talking to Tanton, that he's got a ride next year in a late model, so that's going to be super cool. Tanton, very talented in the legend car. He ran a couple races a few years back and did very, very well. One of those being the IWK 250. I can't wait to see what this kid can do behind the wheel. I was just going to mention, Paul. So you mentioned earlier the tricky triangle and the apron, and then we've got the Monster Mile. And I've been trying to figure something out for Irwindale, and I think we're going to call it the irritable Irwindale.
It's definitely irritable. Yeah, because we've
for
done...
Ashton Tucker, he is very irritable right now.
Yes, yeah, that's a fact, because we usually see that 2 car up in the front, and well, while we see him here up in the front, he just went down a lap. Very unfortunate for the 2 car at Tucker. And what's crazy, those 3 cars on screen, Tanton Woldridge, Ryan Messer, and Ashton Tucker, I have to put together the official list, but those 3 guys are on the list of drivers that I've worked sim racing shows and real racing shows. So that's kind of a neat thing we can start putting together.
Yeah. With you going from track to track and seeing all these new tracks in real life, you're starting to meet a lot of the drivers that we get to enjoy watching and talking about on the sim rig. So this is really cool as you see Ashton Tucker falling back a lap down, as you said, to the grips of Duncan and Tanton Woolridge and Ryan Messer. Again, a guy that we always see, or we generally see up front. Not to say he's off the pace by any means, because he's not slow. He's keeping up with these guys, but Duncan is on a tear. All 3 of these guys up front now are setting times late in this race that are very near qualifying times.
Yeah, 41 laps to go here once we cross the stripe, and they're starting to close in on Riley Duncan. That lead has gone down to about 2/10. So how much has been getting saved in the 97, in the 56, and in the 1 car? Because you know they've all probably got differing strategies here as we get down to the closing laps. The front 3 have pulled away by quite a bit. Mike Rhino has a little bit of breathing room in front of and in behind. JJ McRae, we made mention, dropping that 78 car back to 5th. The 83 car, we'll see what he's doing with that line. Still going low, but not quite as low. You can see kind of running that dotted line there. Last time by, he ran an 18.2, so still pretty much right up with the leaders. As a matter of fact, just taking a look, the top 8 all ran low 18.2s, so still relatively consistent here. A little bit slower than where they were earlier on in this one, but with 39 laps to go, what do you do if the caution flag comes out, and what do you do if it doesn't?
I'm going to get tires.
Yes.
At this point, I am irritable because the car is not handling and I'm not going as fast as I used to. So the only advantage I see at this point now, and I think we've talked about this many times, Ryan Messer would have used a bit more of his equipment coming up through the field, so his tires might be hurting a little bit more than others. We've talked to him after races, and he's said that in the past. But he's keeping up with these guys up front as we go on board, and you see him fighting with those with the wheel with those white gloves. But he also has the experience of making the passes because he's had to come from the back. Something that Tanton Woolridge and Duncan especially have not had to do is kind of search around for another line, as they've kind of been single file right off the start, following each other. And there's nothing wrong with that. They were doing the right thing, but now they've got to try and find a way. Duncan's got to find a way to keep the 56 behind them. His 56 needs to keep the 1 behind him for the championship points. But Messer has already passed 16 cars. So he already has that experience of where to let off, and he's had his time to find other points on the racetrack to make moves.
Yeah, and that 1 car, it very quick qualified outside pole in that one car, but by virtue of winning last week's race, had to start at the back of the field, shotgun on the field, got started P18 and drove his way all the way up to the top 5 relatively quickly. It was kind of a slow and steady pace, but made it up there, and you can see he is in the podium now. A little bit of a hiccup there for the 56 car, and one of the things I'm noticing about Messer right now is he's running where the other 2 cars are not. Yes, they are all 3 rather, on the high side of that dotted line, but you'll see Duncan and Tanton go in there. They were 2 different lines that time by, and Messer kind of splitted up the middle, but they'll run up by the wall, and you'll see Messer almost arc that thing even further out and get some sparks to fly on the right-hand side of that car. Gets it kind of sorted back out, regathers his thoughts, and gets back under the attack. So with 30 laps to go in this one, Ryan Messer's in there. He's in the catbird seat. He's been in this seat before. I think at this point he's doing his homework. He's going to try and find the best opportunity to get around the 56 and the 97.
And we talked to him last week after a great run that he had, and he said he made a move a little too early. So that's also probably in the back of his mind. He was in this position before, and up into the wall that time there. That hurt. He needed an Irwindale stripe. That's all he wanted. He was looking for one of those, and maybe that's in the back of his mind, right? He made that. He attempted to move early on in a race a few weeks back. Didn't play out. He ended up second, still a podium position, great points night. But maybe that's in the back of his mind right now. Maybe it's one of those, maybe I got to wait till 10 to go to make my move. I know where I got to do it, and I got one shot at completing it. So he could just be playing the waiting game right now. And right behind them in the 34 car, sharp-looking car, Mike Rhino, he's done his job. He's worked his way up. I don't believe he started too far back, but he's kind of been quiet. He's kind of lurking back there, a little bit further back. Not really making too much noise, but running a great race. It's great to see him up there. Chris Roma, same thing. Yeah, we saw him running that funky line, we'll call it, early on in this race. He's moved up to the top with everybody else. It didn't hurt him. He's sitting beautifully in 5th position.
Yeah, got around the 78 car there of J.J. McRae. You can see he slid back to 6th place in that 78 car. He is under attack by the 8 of Devin Laffin all over the back bumper there of the 78. Todd Cousins there as well. Scott Negus, Conrad Murphy rounding out the top 10 as they run with 25 laps to go once they get to the stripe. And the biggest mover so far here tonight going to be the big boss man at Craig Tully. He's currently in 13th, but he's moved himself up 4 spots. It looks like he's trying to take away that 5th spot there of the evening on Byron, the 57 down on the high side.
One name that I don't see on that on the most positions gained is the 1 car, but of course it takes it from the qualifying lap, and the 1 was supposed to start on the outside pole. Big move there by Ryan Messer. This is the asphalt slide job is what it looked like he attempted there. He sent that car into the corner, dove it down below that dotted line, didn't get a chance to slide up in front of the 56. Did he show his hand too quickly?
I think that was calculated. I think he was just letting Tanton know that he was there and he was ready to rock here with 23 laps to go. I don't know. I don't think that was the full hand. I think he just flashed him 3 cards.
It's Texas Hold'em. There's only 2.
I thought there was 3. No, that's 5 card. That's. Hang on. See, well, the new
full disclosure, Paul and I do not gamble.
No, yeah, and the new Grand Theft Auto server that I'm in doesn't have a casino, and it's based in the 70s. So I guess I don't know how to play poker anymore.
No. Oh man. So nonetheless, I think he showed his nose too early. Personally, I come from the sprint car world of dirt track racing, and generally when you show your nose below somebody, that car in front of you gets on that loud pedal a lot more.
Yeah, but one of the things that I'm seeing here, it looks like Duncan has pulled away by just a little bit. We got down to about 0.2 of a second, that gap between first and second, but it's about 4, maybe 0.5 now at this point. And the gap between second and third hasn't really gained too much. So this guy's kind of spreading out just a little bit more. We got less than 20 laps to go. There you see Messer kind of drifting all the way up towards the outside wall. Handling definitely going to become an issue here as we get down into the nitty-gritty. 108 laps on the same set of tires for the entirety of this field. Caution flag flies. How about that for the first time tonight?
And what a way to switch things up. 18 laps to go, the first yellow of the race. Paul, do you pit?
Yes. Yes, all of the tires at once. We're going to try and take a quick peek at this as we get down into it. The 2-car finds himself out of shape because we want to make sure we take a peek at pit stops. 2-car having issues. Negus gets a piece of it in the 55 car as well. Whoa, big slide there for the 50. And Tully gets caught or woe to back up. We'll check in with the leaders here as they drive on by the entry of pit road.
So that to me there, Paul, was a case of brake bias, no fuel in the tank or very little fuel left in the tank, and old tires, because the two just seemed to get in that corner. He let off the gas, and whether he touched the brake or whatever, the car just snapped sideways on him. So he was along for the ride, and from what I gather, I've just got a message from somebody that's a sponsor on one of these races that we're doing right now, and he said, "We got to get you here so that we can all take you to the casino."
See, I can get down with that.
I mean, we'd all have to sit at the same card table so that whatever we lost, at least it wasn't that bad.
Well, there's different folks that'll teach you how to play cards at the casino, aren't there?
When I go to the casino, I just go and I hit the button.
See, that's my problem. And I'm an adrenaline junkie, so like I'll put a $20 bill in just to see the lights go off and I'm having fun. But then all of a sudden I don't have $20 and I'm not having fun anymore.
Because the lights aren't going flashy.
That's what it is.
Right. So we just got to find the machine that's always going flashy. Then you won't feel as bad for losing your $20.
Either that or an arcade. Like I'd probably be okay with an arcade.
Don't we do enough table racing?
That's a good point, huh? It's all fun and games until it's fun and games, I guess.
Right, because we'd go to the race car ones.
It's like the last time Tony Stevens and myself went to a micro center. Oh man, yeah, they were open late.
Pace car is on pit road, by the way. We're gonna have to reel this back in as Duncan in the 97 and Woolridge on the outside. Great jump by the 97 control car. He's gonna tuck right up in front of Tanton Woolridge. Ryan Messer's gonna try and use that bottom lane, make some move earlier on in this restart where they're all racked and stacked.
Oh, wrecking in the back. Looks like Danny Vitch pointed in the wrong direction. Yellow. That's going to close them back up and give these guys another opportunity at a restart. And we've seen it time and time again, and we hear it time and time again. Cautions breed cautions, and here in the sim racing world, no different. We'll take a peek at the U-House Racing Designs replay. Here you see a little 3-wide action there on the start. Byron gets up, tries to get in front of Vino, and just unfortunately the back end of the car comes up around. You and I have talked about it. Craswell gets a piece of it as well. The back ends of these cars a little bit lighter than they were when they started because they burnt off all that excess fuel. So handling very, very different. 115 laps into this one.
Yeah, Danny had nowhere to go. Danny Vitch in that 29 Major Melon. Beautiful paint scheme. Once again, paint scheme of the year. For that vehicle. It's always noticeable, always bright, always beautiful. Just nowhere to go. The 57 slid up in front of him and thought he had caught it, but by the time he caught it, it was just a little too late. So now again, and nobody taking to the pits, and it just if I was mid to back with only 10 laps to go, I'd be shooting for it. You got nothing to lose. You're, one of the last cars on the lead lap. Just put right sides on and see what they're going to do. Because if they even gain you 0.6, you're going to get your way back through the field. So if I was a back marker, I'd be making that attempt to run down pit road and grab some right side tires.
And we're going to get this restart with less than 10 laps to go. Should get the one to go rather this time by. There you see the lights off on the iRacing pace car. This is going to get crazy. You're right. I think if he came down, maybe outside of the top 10, got yourself for Mr. Feelgoods in the bottom of this car, you might be able to take it into the top 10. But everybody going to stay out except for the pace car. Pace car is going to come down to the safety of pit road. We're going to get that green flag with 8 laps to go. The 97 of Duncan down on the bottom side. Woolridge is there. Rhino, Messer, and Laffin, the top 5. The leaders get squirrely. Bad start for Woldridge, almost 3 wide. They get it sorted out. Ryan Messer all the way down to the bottom.
I believe the yellow is out again. I believe they're going to call that start back. Now, I think Ryan Messer was going for the slide job. He came and ran mini stocks with us on the dirt a few weeks back. He might have learned something about a good old slide job back on the dirt.
Take a look at this. We'll see. Messer looked low. I think there were some gains there that were a little ill-timed on the front row, and a couple of guys going for some different strategies there on the starts. But that's what's fun here at VidaneTV, because we've seen these 3 on restarts multiple times, even against each other, and they're definitely some of the best. So I think we may be in for a handful of potential green-white checkers here to close this one out.
Absolutely, and Riley Duncan knows what he has to do, and he knows how good Tanton Woolridge is on restarts. So that was he's the control car. So I didn't see him accelerate and then decelerate, because the minute you accelerate, that is your cue to go. But he was, he was waiting and waiting and waiting, and I think Tanton just tried to time it. And once Tanton got off the gas, is when Riley took off, which is the great strategy move by anybody, and anybody's going to do it. But it's one of those situations you got to call that back. You got to let them start evenly, and give both drivers or all the drivers a chance at the win.
Pace car's gone once again. Duncan and Woolridge up on the front row. A little bit cleaner start this time. Ryan Messer up with it. Chris Roma is there as well. That 83 car usually running down on the apron all night long. Not able to do it. Woolridge up to the outside wall. Duncan's around. Ryan Messer to the point. Caution. Yellow, yellow. Holy moly, Ashton.
I don't know what happened there.
I don't either. What in the world?
Roma's in second. Messer in the lead. Roma second. I can't believe this. Well, I'll let you play this back. I don't know exactly what happened.
I don't even know if slow motion works on this new replay gig. We're gonna try it. All right. I don't know why it jumped back there. We'll take a peek at it. We're gonna. Now that did. Back it up one more time.
The 56 looks like he gets into the fence all on his own.
There you see it. And it's like it's almost like the 97 was distracted, as was the 1. And you look up right that quick second, and when you look right, you want to steer right. I almost feel like that's what happened there.
The way Tanton drove away from that, and I don't know what the algorithm is here for iRacing, but did he lose a tire?
You know what? He might have.
Because if you watch, he doesn't take much impact there, but when he goes into into 3 and 4 after the yellow, it doesn't turn.
I'm not even sure. I'm baffled.
Yeah. That is not one I've seen before, and very experienced drivers out front. Like I said, that just became tight quarter racing. That was side-by-side tight quarter racing to no fault of nobody. I think that was just nowhere to go for any of these drivers. With Tanton getting up into the outside wall, the 97 was sliding up the track. Again, these tires are cold. These tires are old. I think he just tried to come back down to give Tanton some room. The 1 was already there. The 1 was taking full advantage of it. The 97 got sideways, and out of all of this, Ryan Messer, VidaneTV's Iron Man, is on the pole with the 83 sitting in second, 34 right behind them in that second row. Great start by Ryan Messer. Jumps right out to the front. The 83 is going to follow him and stay to the top side. I expected Roma to dive to the bottom. He doesn't do that. The 34 is going to look below him. They are side by side, single file down the backstretch. Oh!
Side by side there for third. Oh, yeah, the 2 car around and pointed in the wrong direction. It looks like we're going to stay green to the white flag, white rag. 1 lap to go here at Irwindale for the Veinotte Truck and Auto. 125. How about a quick time from the leader just to send it on home with a 17.682 rather. Lap car there gets a little bit of a bump, and a big bump. Ryan Messer, though, going to take the checkered flag. Chris Roma going to finish in second. How about Travis Roma? Gonna come home in third. What a race!
Great run. There was a Chris Roma setting a 17.672 on the last lap to set a fast lap. He says, nope, I'm taking this away from Messer. He's already got the win. I want to take the fast lap, and that's exactly what he does. A wild finish to this one. Ryan Messer, Chris Roma, Travis Roma, Devin Laffin, Conrad Murphy round out your top 5, and I guess Ashton Tucker just wanted to let Ryan Messer know that he was excited to see him.
Fist bumping with race cars. Oh, man. What an eventful one here tonight. There you see the top 10 on your screen. We're going to try and talk to our top 3 here. And, man, it's been eventful for sure. I'm going to slide over here down pit road just a little bit and catch up with this second place finisher, Chris Roma, in the 83. Chris, wild race, wild finish, wild line you were running all night long. Talk to us, man. How you feeling? Second place.
I really didn't think I was going to pull a top 3. I was happy sitting top 5 there, but yeah, I was running early. I just like doing things different than everyone else, trying to keep the right front on the tire, right front on the car, not running hot on the outside the whole race. So I think it did save it. I should have ran it some more laps like that, but close enough.
Yeah, and coming home, we talked about the tire wear a couple of times throughout the race. Running down on that apron, did that help the right front at all?
I believe it did. I haven't looked yet at my tires, but it felt pretty good when I started running the top again.
It definitely looked pretty good, and it looked like the car ran pretty decent. Finished in a great spot here, P2 for the 83 team. Who's out there watching? Who gets you to and from the virtual racetrack?
Oh, we got to thank Veinotte Auto and Truck and Jordan Veinotte for sponsoring the race tonight, and Craig Tully for running this whole deal. You guys for broadcasting and put on a show.
Yeah, an absolute banger here this evening. Coming home in second. Solid run here tonight. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Ashton, which way did you go? Are you down victory lane or are you down third place?
No, I went down to visit the third place driver, Travis Roma. A heck of a run. You were sitting just outside the top 5, and you know what? We'll call that the catbird seat from now on because you ended up on the podium. How you feeling after that one?
Oh, not too bad. It was a good laugh at the end. I feel bad for Rhino. Old Telco ended his night in a real hurry. But, no, it was good. Congrats to Ryan on the win and Chris on second. And we just I was definitely playing the saving game at the beginning, and then like Chris had mentioned, about 3/4 of the way through the race, he just wasn't sure the tires had as much fall off as what they used to have anyway. So I thought it was time to pick her back up the best I can, and I guess just put her in position to capitalize on some good fortune for me and misfortune for others at that.
Absolutely, and it was one of the questions I was going to lead into. There was the whole team kind of seems to communicate with each other during the race, and everybody seemed to be running at something a little different tonight. Was that part of the strategy to figure out who was running better lap times, or was it just kind of everybody doing their own thing and seeing where you guys end up?
Usually in the race, everyone just does their own thing. The only chit chat on the channel is laughing at, if one of us gets wrecked or listening to someone holler if someone gets wrecked. But in the race, it's just small stuff like that. No one really talks about the lines that they're running. So
awesome, and it's good to see you up on the podium. Obviously, you have some partners that help you get you here, and who would those be?
Yeah, it's just the guys at Roman Brothers Racing, and a buddy of mine built my pedal setup for me. It's Danny Veach pedals. He built a decent hydraulic setup for me out of an old set, and just you guys for broadcasting it, and Tully for all the hard work he puts in, and thanks to Veinotte Truck and Auto for coming on board for this race. To get you guys here to put on the broadcast, and yeah, just congrats.
Awesome. Congratulations again. A podium finish for Travis Roma. Paul, you caught up with the what we're now calling the Iron Man of VidaneTV. The winner tonight, Ryan Messer.
Oh, we started calling him that because he ran in all the series, and this year he just started winning all the series. So Ryan Messer, another W here in the RBR Maritime Group, and you did it in stylish fashion. Qualified outside the pole, and by virtue of winning last week, had to start shotgun, and you drove your way all the way through up, and Crazy finish or crazy last dozen or so laps. Walk us through it.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a crazy one. You call it a win. It doesn't quite feel like it. I don't know. Right at the last restart there, or second to last one, I saw the 97, 56. The 97 went hard into the turn, and I kind of thought they went out of my view, and I honestly thought the two were together and probably in the wall. And coming to the two, they wouldn't even be in the equation. And we get to two, and I see the 97 come back into the windshield, and I just barely got into him, I think. And it sent him around, which really sucks because that tore up a couple of cars, and that's definitely not what was intended. It's also one of those tracks that it's kind of hard to tell what lane is where, like the bottom, top. That's all kind of run right up next to the wall. So kind of in the later stages, the bottom lane was right on that line. So that's just kind of where I aimed, and then that wasn't low enough at the end. So hard to say how race control will end up scoring it officially. But no, it was another good run. It was fun to try to come up from the back. I didn't have as much tire as I needed at the end, but just sometimes need a little luck. So we'll see how the official results go. But yeah, it was another fun one.
Absolutely, and just one more race, I believe, in the season here. The points battle going to be very tight, especially depending on how this one gets officially scored here. But we know there's a lot of one fans out there in the virtual world, in the real world. Who gets you to and from the virtual track and the real track?
Yeah, just any of my friends or family that's watching. They always like to tune into these things. And just you guys at Vidane for putting these on, the RBR series for putting these races on, Veinotte for sponsoring this race. So it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll get another good run for the last one.
Ryan Messer getting another W here at Irwindale for the Beano's Truck and Auto 125 here at the virtual Irwindale Speedway. And that's going to put a feather in the cap here for us this evening. Still lots of racing action coming up this week. Tomorrow night, the Turn 4 Podcast Winter iRacing Series coming back with us. And then Thursday night, the NEP Super Truck Series. And then we've got a couple of days off. The weekend potentially has some racing action going on. I believe we've got a TCM double-double coming up with the NEP Series on December 19th. So lots of racing action here on the go. It's going to be a blast to keep up with. I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to shoot on over to the Twitch, twitch.tv/strictly94. Get that fired back up for a little Grand Theft Auto action if anybody is interested in checking that out. If not, we'll see you next time here on VidaneTV. We'll catch you on the flip side. And when we do,
We'll be doing it live.
you know, Ashton, then make a really good T-shirt. You and I should probably talk once we get off the air about maybe potentially putting a T-shirt together. Says that.
I think I know